From the Red Shoe Institute, this is Touch Base Tuesdays, sharing life-changing stories and advice to help military families with all phases of deployment.
My name is Brian Anderson. I am the CEO of the Veterans Alternative and co-founder of the Veterans Alternative. This is my sidekick, Hero, under the table doing some grooming on his leg. Beautiful, beautiful guy. The Veterans Alternative was founded November 11th, 2014. That was our groundbreaking day. We started it because of some of the difficulties that I faced in life. And I started seeing some of the problems that some of our other warriors were facing, and I wanted to bring something together that could bring peace and some comfort to them. I went to Stanford University, and I heard this term from General Mattis. General Mattis, Mad Dog himself, he led Fallujah 1 and Fallujah 2. And when he was giving us a talk, there was 25 of us, all veterans, sitting inside a room in the Graduate School of Business, and he said inside the room that he didn't believe in post-traumatic stress. And I got unbelievably angry because I remember all the things that I was going through at the time. And when he said he didn't believe in post-traumatic stress, I was wondering why this combat-hardened general, this great leader, would say such a thing. And it turns out that he was, onto something. Now, I do 100% believe in post-traumatic stress. I know because there's times that I'm very much so finding it difficult to operate in the civilian world. However, he brought in a new dynamic, and he said, I believe in post-traumatic growth. Now, I don't know what the rest of his speech was. I don't remember it because I was still angry. But the words post-traumatic growth kept on playing over and over and over again in my head. Afterwards, I did some research on post-traumatic growth, and there's not much information out there. There's not many people that talk about it. It's actually kind of funny. In the United States, we just don't talk about positive psychology. We only talk about the negative psychology. We only research the negative psychology. But what I found is there is case after case after case of men and women doing great things after hugely traumatic events in their lives. I firmly believe in post-traumatic growth, and I think that the military, our men and women who've served in the military, they have a foundation that's already set up for their success in post-traumatic growth. We start at the very beginning when we start teaching purpose, direction, and motivation. And that's the biggest thing that we do at the Veterans Alternative with our alternative therapies, is we point towards purpose, direction, and motivation. And we do that by teaching them resiliency and mindfulness using the therapies that we have. So we use a couple of alternative therapies. One is now an evidence-based therapy thanks to the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Association or Alliance. Is it association or alliance? But SAMHSA, and that is accelerated resolution therapy. Accelerated resolution therapy is unbelievably great therapy. I remember in my own struggle, I came home when I decided to get out, and I started having panic attacks. I thought I was having blood pressure issues. I thought I was having diabetes. I thought I was having anything but post-traumatic stress or anxiety attacks. I mean, here I am, a big barrel-chested freedom fighter, and they're telling me that there's problems with me. I knew I was emotionally, physically, and mentally strong, but those things happen. And I remember driving down the road and seeing my best friend Calvin driving a car next to me. I remember bullets going through my head, just this imagery while I was washing dishes. I remember rage just coming through the door. And I tried tons of therapies, prolonged exposure, cognitive processing therapy. I did alpha stim. You hook up this little electric thing to your ears. I tried a lot of different things, and they didn't work for me. And then I sat in front of this one lady for accelerated resolution therapy, and she put her hand up, just similar to EMDR, and she waved it back and forth. But she had this set program, and she walked me through this program. And as I went through it, I started feeling relief during the session itself, and afterwards I was wondering if this was going to stick, if it was going to last. 2 weeks later, no images. That was June 2013. All of those images have been gone since then. And I've gone through several more sessions of accelerated resolution therapy for various triggers related to combat, but not only triggers related to combat, it's a brain fitness type exercise. So really what you're doing is opening up new perspectives so you have a different way of looking at things. It's an unbelievably great therapy. It's very useful. We combine that with another therapy called integrative restoration, or iRest yoga. iRest yoga is a meditative practice. And right there you can already tell how mindfulness and meditation can kind of go together to help guide your accelerated resolution therapy sessions. It's amazing how the two combine. And then we want to make sure our guys set up preventive maintenance plans. And some of those preventive maintenance plans, staying with that mindfulness track, is physical fitness. A lot of times when you get into the gym, when you're doing Kali, a type of martial arts, when you're doing yoga, you have to be there in the present moment. So those classes we bring in and we harness those, and we try and help our warriors set up that preventive maintenance so they don't have crashes and they can always live that true goal that they have in the civilian life of putting the glory days ahead of them instead of behind them. So actually, I rest. So there's a lot of meditative practices. I mean, honestly, if you're doing something where your mind is staying right there, concentrated. So examples that we utilize because you really have to be there in the moment for them. Kali, it's a type of martial arts. You have to be present for it, or you're going to get your knuckles hit by a stick, and you don't like that. It's bilateral movements, it's staying right there in the present moment, and yoga is a great practice for that. Mindfulness is built into every practice of yoga. It focuses on breathing, and a lot of people say, I can't do yoga. Well, if you breathe, you're doing yoga. That's just the reality of it. So simple stretches, that's really what we're talking about. A gentle yoga class, you're holding stretches for a long period of time. So yoga is a good way to bring in that mindfulness approach. But, I personally, in my own life, one of the funnest things for me to do is go biking. I have bad knees. I'm actually getting surgery very soon on one of my knees. And biking has been a real pleasure of mine. And I can tell you, when you're biking, you stay inside the moment. You really do. It's kind of hard not to sometimes, especially if you're riding on the roads because of cars and things of that nature. So things that keep you in the moment. The more you practice staying inside the moment, and you got to find that own spot, your own preventive maintenance plan. Some people like to go shooting. Some people like to play golf. Those right there are part of a person's preventive maintenance plan. And when we do our retreats, which are 5 days long, we do 5 sessions of accelerated resolution therapy, 5 sessions of iRest. We bring in the Kali, we bring in the yoga, we do a little bit of scuba diving. We combine a lot of different modalities into one week process. We try and help harness those ideas of mindfulness practice through our daily interactions. Those are the things that I think would help a lot of our warriors coming home really just prepare themselves for the civilian streets. Well, I think the biggest, and I fault myself for this too. So, post-traumatic stress is it's a scary little devil. So what happens is we convince ourselves that everything's okay and that we're doing all right. And then we crash. And then after we crash, the crash can look in various ways. The crash can be simple. It can be something small where, there's just a rise in emotions and there's screaming or yelling or just being ugly to somebody. There's crashes where you just isolate yourself. I've seen guys, I stopped drinking myself. I don't participate in alcoholic beverages or anything like that. But I have seen some of my friends that have unbelievably crashed and taken alcohol to levels that just are not good for anybody, to be quite honest. And I think the problem with our crashes with post-traumatic stress, when we go into those deep isolations, those depressions, those anger spells, those drinking habits, the biggest problem is once we get through it, and a lot of times we're able to get through it on our own, right? And we get past that, and then we think, okay, well, I'm past that. I'm okay. I'm good. And then we try and ride that wave until we crash again. But the crashes get worse and worse and worse. So even when we're on the other side of a crash, even though we're feeling better than what we did when we were in the dark portion of it, we need to find help right then. That's where you reach out. The Veterans Alternative is one place that you can go to 100% of the time. We have a website, theveteransalternative.org. We have a Facebook page. All you have to do is look up Veterans Alternative. We have our phone number, 727-939-VETS, VETS, very easy, 727-939-VETS. And we're one organization. There's United Way, 211. Dialing 211 almost anywhere you're at in the state of Florida and across the United States, that's an information line. And they have a lot of different resources there. A lot of people are bad on the VA. They do have the crisis hotline, though, and the crisis hotline has saved a lot of people's lives. I get it. I have a lot of problems with the VA, too, but at the same time, the reality is they're there to help. So wherever way you can reach out to somebody is a great way to do it. And it might be just picking up the phone and calling one person, just saying it, just putting it on Facebook, just doing something, because honestly, we don't need more people deciding that, you know what, this is the end. This is their time to go. We already lead in too many statistical factors. I can tell you this, if you're a veteran and you're out there walking the civilian streets thinking your mission's over, you're wrong. Your mission's far from over. We have too many brothers and sisters who are taking their own lives. We need every single one of you to be a part of this mission. And I can tell you this, if we're not leading the mission, if veterans are not leading the mission, that means others are going to lead the mission for us, and some of them do not make the best decisions on our behalf. So that means we need every single one of you to do this. The easiest way is just identifying programs that are out there and pointing guys towards it. And the best way to do that is to take care of yourself. The very first thing you can do to help a brother and sister is get your own self into a program. Come on down to the Veterans Alternative for a retreat. If our retreats aren't the ones for you, I guarantee you we're going to point you towards the right one. Listen, I go on a retreat once a year. At the very least, I go on a retreat once a year. It's not with the Veterans Alternative. I go with other organizations. It's hard to do a retreat in your own house. There is no cost to any of it. Everything is free of charge. So we have great philanthropists throughout the United States who make sure that you are covered and taken care of. They pay for your travel, they pay for your meals, your hotel, and you get to have some of the best services and a great time around some barrel-chested freedom fighters who've spread freedom and democracy all across the world just the same way as you have. No problem. So Hero, come here. Hero, Stan, come here. Come here. Come on out. Let's get you over here real quick. I'm going to talk about you real quick, buddy. So Hero, I got to tell you, this dog is absolutely amazing. When I first got Hero, I thought he was a chick magnet. I'll be completely honest. That's the only thing I could think of. And I first told them he's not for me. That's what us veterans do. We always say he's not for me. Well, I had Hero for about a month, and I was lying down in bed. I was sleeping, and I woke up. And I was on patrol when I woke up. I was just having images of it. It wasn't really I was on patrol, or it wasn't a nightmare. It wasn't anything like that. It was just one of those dreams. And I closed my eyes. I was trying to go back to sleep. I was trying to concentrate on relaxing. And next thing you know, Hero jumped on the bed. Hero was trained not to go on furniture, and I didn't allow him on the furniture at that time. But he jumped on the bed, and I didn't say anything. I just lied there with my eyes closed, trying to go back to sleep. And he came up to me, and he put his cheek against mine. And when he put his cheek against mine, it was like one of those spontaneous moments. You know those times where everything just kind of opens up and you understand so many things? It was like one of those times. And what opened up for me was this understanding that I was emotionally numb. I didn't know how to be there for other people. I didn't know how to be sympathetic or empathetic. Yes, I was doing things for my brothers and sisters. I was helping out. I was an agent of change for a lot of folks. But I still was emotionally numb to the people who were closest to me. And I started recognizing this because Hero was opening up some of those emotions. We were starting to bond this beautiful relationship. And as I was thinking about that, the images of being on patrol started going further and further away. And as the images of being on patrol started going further and further away, Hero's cheek became lighter and lighter against mine. And finally the images were gone, and I opened up my eyes to look at Hero, and it wasn't his cheek that was against mine. He was standing over me, watching me calm down, and it was his paw against my cheek. Since then, this dog has never left my side, and except for when he gets groomed. I don't really groom him, drop him off for that. But when I drive, he sits inside the front seat most of the time. His head's on my leg to calm me down, to make sure that I'm not driving on the medians or getting angry behind the wheel. Some of us warriors have a real difficulty driving. I would like to see what the statistics are with traffic light tickets, because I can guarantee you traffic light tickets and veterans are extremely high. Our combat veterans, we don't know how to stop. We don't want to stop. He he really is a savior. And I look at us coming home from deployment. So I've done accelerated resolution therapy. I do integrative restoration. Those right there are part of my preventive maintenance plans. I go to counseling on a regular basis. That's part of my preventive maintenance plans. Sometimes talk therapy really is helpful to help you understand some of those things and dig down to things that I can take into accelerated resolution therapy and keep on investigating. Hero is part of my onion, and then when I say onion, all the layers that we have to work through. I've done hyperbaric oxygen treatment. That was absolutely amazing. For traumatic brain injury, if you have one of the a mild or moderate traumatic brain injury, I highly suggest seeking out hyperbaric oxygen treatment. There's Healing Heroes Network, which is another organization that actually pays 100% of the cost to do hyperbaric oxygen treatment. And let me tell you, HBOT, hyperbaric oxygen treatment, it's about $10,000 because you're going to do about 40 sessions in a 2-month period. You're going to go 5 days a week for an hour and a half. But I can tell you, in that hour and a half going through it, it would take about 3 hours of my day. And the rest of my day, I was able to do more than I ever was before. It's like, so just real quick, going on a tangent of hyperbaric oxygen treatment. So they use it for wound treatment. Right? What happens when you're in there inside a pressurized chamber and they're pumping in 100% pure oxygen, you actually increase your red blood cells by 15%. That's a healing process, right? So a traumatic brain injury, what is it? It's not necessarily concussion. It's not jarring of the head. As a matter of fact, when they've done studies on it, and they've done studies with pigs, right? They do proximity blasts to pigs to see what actually causes traumatic brain injury. It's overpressure. Overpressure. When you fire a gun, there's overpressure. Every single time you set off an IED, every single time you set off a block of C4, there's overpressure. My last deployment, I took out 98 IEDs. There was overpressure. I can tell you that if you fired a Gustav, if you fired a SMAW-D, if you fired any one of those rocket-propelled type operations, there is overpressure. Overpressure is what causes the lesions on the brain. So lesions on the brain, that means they're wounds, right? Wound care, that's what hyperbaric oxygen treatment goes after. I'm not talking about something that's major where you've had major brain damage. I'm talking about your mild and moderate traumatic brain injuries that hyperbaric oxygen treatment has been shown and proven to actually work. Never mind what DOD did on a study. I can tell you that there's so much propaganda out there, it's not even funny. When these people are actually doing this and they're going through the process of hyperbaric oxygen treatment, you can see the difference. And that's why actually this past summer we passed hyperbaric oxygen treatment, acupuncture, outdoor recreational sports, accelerated resolution therapy, a lot of these therapies for the VA actually to fund. And we did that through the Promise Act and the Cover Act. They were signed into law by President Obama this summer. They are actually going to be full steam ahead in the next 18 months where 15 VAs will be running pilot programs with these processes. So if you live in the Tampa Bay area, James A. Haley will be one of those VAs that will be funding your services that are alternative, including service dogs. So my name is Brian Anderson. I run the Veterans Alternative in Holiday, Florida. We're a retreat-based and local-based program. Retreats, we fly people in all over the United States, all over Florida for a 5-day retreat where we do 5 sessions of accelerated resolution therapy, 5 sessions of integrative restoration. We do a ton of outdoor recreational sports, yoga. Everything is adaptive. We get you out there to do scuba diving. Sometimes we go and teach you how to fly, or we go deep sea fishing. It's a great program. It's free of charge for anybody who's served in a combat zone. You don't have to be Rambo to go on one of our retreats. You can be a supply guy, or you can be Rambo. We divide up our retreats 3 a month is what we do. We look forward to everybody going out there. It's easy to get in touch with us. All you have to do is dial 727-939-8387. We look forward to seeing you guys soon. The Veterans Alternative, all we're doing is promoting post-traumatic growth, allowing you to have that purpose, direction, and motivation in the civilian world so you can see your glory days ahead of you instead of behind you.